Hello, hello. It is February 24th, 2026. All right, so I'm going to kick this off since once again I will probably be the only one here. So, let's see. I will share my screen. So last week I said that I would include or build and show the first identity agent, and that's what I did. So here it is this is on a Linux. So we will go ahead through the process on a Linux and then I will show you. So I ended up creating it also on Mac OS and Windows and iOS and Android. So this is a Linux and right here is Android. So let's go ahead and get that installed too. Might as well just show the whole process here. And well, it should only take a moment. There we go. Definitely not verified. Fresh off the mint. And it should look the same. Well, okay, here it is. All right. Well, it does actually look a little bit different. I wonder why. Anyway, begin. Let's see. If we tap create new identity, and then we tap begin inception, I guess we're just creating a new identity. Hey, I found bugs. It should be the same. But either way, so if we click individual, well, now it's the same. Anyway, it's functional. That's all that matters at this point. So we selected well, I guess it doesn't matter. I had to add some logic in there because when you set this up as an individual versus an organization, there are things that work a little bit differently. And then, yeah, so that's all I'll say about that. But then the first thing you do with your identity agent is when you're creating a new one, then you have to write down your seed phrase. And I'm thinking we'll add in here a way to save it to an NFC tag or just download it, or which I don't know if we want to support that, but there are risks associated with where you store this because this is essentially this is the only backdoor, if you want to call it a backdoor. It's the only saving, if if you lose your identity or your keys or you get somehow they get stolen, your main keys, then this is the only thing that can reset and rotate your main identity cryptographic keys. So that's why this is really important to keep because it'll just save you a lot of hassle. Anyway, so if you write them down, say I wrote them down, and then it asks you to type in the words. And if you don't want to, you can skip the verification, which I do during development. But then you have a big warning that, hey, you could lose your entire identity if you don't do this. So now it has created your cryptographic identity, which is it's called your AID, and it's based on the carry protocol. And then this is your AID right here. And so then now we have a dashboard. Let's go ahead and do that on this other side. We will skip. All right, we've got it created. So now we've got a dashboard on the Linux server as well as the Android phone. So one thing that we can do now is we can add each other as a contact. So what I will do is we do that using an OOBI. Let's see, if we add, Yeah, we could manually type it in right here. We could paste, we could go to right here, we could copy it, and then we could add it right here. But let's just do it the QR code way. So the easier way is to display a QR code, and then let's go to the contacts and then scan a QR code. Yes. And then let's go over to, oh, it found it. All right. And then, yes. And there we go. So it added a contact in this person's profile. And then, well, actually, I have never tested this. There should be a contact over here, but I think it's on the alerts. I don't know what that is. Oh, that's okay, so I don't see an alerts section here. So I guess there is no alert section here. I haven't tested this part yet. Anyway, it's probably has something to do with the URL because we also added tunneling. And you can see over here by default, it'll use Cloudflare to create a tunnel so that you can basically just have a URL that another identity agent can use to contact you. And if you don't want to use Cloudflare, you can use ngrok, or it just will use your exact IP address that the app finds, which probably is not the best. It's always better to use ngrok or Cloudflare, but local testing, you could use this. Anyway, so that's pretty much everything that I have to show. And let's see if there's anything else on this dashboard. Yeah, so there's some other stubbed out functionality where you can migrate to an external server. So on this identity agent on your smartphone, it currently has a front end, which of course we're seeing, and a back end. So the back end is what processes all of your identity. So it's what manages your contacts, this whole process of the OOBI, all your settings, and anything and everything that we add into this entire app. It will be managed through the back end on this. But since a mobile device can be kind of limiting, then that's why we added a button over here that says migrate to external server. And I'll have to figure out how to exactly call this so it makes more sense to a user perspective. But basically, it just means all the back-end processing will move to a second device. So if you want to have your second device be, well, actually, it could be a Linux just like this, a Linux server, or it could be your Windows or a Mac OS on a laptop or a desktop in your basement. So basically, you can say, yeah, I want all the brains to be moved to a device that has much more processing power, then it can do that. And then it also will give you the ability to choose whether the keys stay right here on this phone so that you have so that you have the signing keys, like the main keys, the root keys. Or you can have the root keys be on your server, which if the server's at your house, it could be better. It just depends on what people want. If you're worried about your house getting broken into, then maybe you want your keys on your phone. If you're worried about getting robbed, maybe you don't want your keys on your phone. I don't know. That'll be interesting to see what people choose. Anyway, that is pretty much everything I have to show. So we fully have the identity agent functional. It and on 4 or 5 different platforms. Again, Mac OS, Windows, and Linux, as well as iOS, iPhone, and Android. So that was a good amount of work to get done in one week. So then this coming week, I will get this OOBI. I will build out the contacts more so that you can add your, complete the flow of adding both sides as a contact. And then I will also add the more support for importing contacts from third-party software, such as Google contacts and your iCloud contacts and so forth. So that's what I will work on next. And I don't know, maybe something else. We'll see how much time I have. And yeah, since nobody, as expected, nobody's here, then obviously there are no questions. I thought about bringing up the an AI bot and having it ask questions to myself, but I'll leave that for the future because currently I don't need to talk to myself, but to myself specifically or through AI. So with that, that is the end of this IdentityBot Lab call, our weekly meetup, and until next week.